Next on Worcester News Tonight, toll demolition coming this weekend, why drivers are being warned to avoid the turnpike. Plus, a look at how the weather is impacting pumpkins this fall. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Andy Madison. The toll plazas on the Mass Pike will soon be no more, and state transportation officials are warning drivers, be ready for some traffic delays as demolition begins on 23 toll plazas across the Massachusetts Turnpike. Our Olivia Lemon explains.
A new animation released by Mass DOT shows plans for demolition work expected to take place over the next few months on the Mass Pike.
I think until they get the construction done, we'll have to slow down.
Some of the construction already happening Wednesday in Auburn at the Exit 10 toll plaza.
Exit 9 and 10 are two of the busiest exits, I believe, on a Pike.
Mass DOT says first traffic will be diverted to the outside Easy Pass lanes while crews demolish the center lanes. Then traffic will move to the inside while the outside booths are taken down. Some drivers we spoke to Wednesday say although they like the new electronic tolling system, the work to get there could cause some major headaches.
I believe their efforts, but I mean, it's something that you can't help. This is going to happen. It's going to be like the Big Dig all over again.
Have to watch out for each other. Yeah. It could be dangerous.
Mass DOT is urging people to slow down in construction zones and even consider taking public transportation next week because traffic could be bad. Meanwhile, the new open road tolling goes into effect Friday at 10 p.m. Olivia Lemon, Worcester News Tonight.
If you haven't gotten an Easy Pass yet, you can head to easypassma.com for more information. Well, taking a look at the weather now, and no one is feeling the impact of the drought worse than farmers. October is the time of year when pumpkins are popular, and as our Jennifer Zarate shows us, the lack of rain is affecting the pumpkin patch.
We had a severe drought this season. Certainly in our 38 years of farming at this location, it was the driest, hottest year that we've experienced.
For any farmers in Worcester County like Kim and John Michek, it's been a challenging year for their crop. Kim says this year's pumpkin crop at Breezy Gardens is significantly smaller in size than last year's. On average, Kim says the family-owned farm usually grows 120,000 pounds of pumpkins. This year, the harvest is about 80,000 pounds of pumpkins.
But we grew the same number of pumpkins, so the same fruit set on the vine, but the pumpkins were lighter and smaller because of the drought.
John says the farm has its own irrigation system, but it wasn't enough for the entire pumpkin crop.
They just didn't have the water to size up at the critical point.
So for our farm that is recharged by the pound, that certainly made a difference. It certainly was a lighter crop than usual in more ways than one.
Including price. Just before the season started, Kim says they had to raise the price by 10 cents a pound, but it's still been difficult on the farm. Kim says they are hoping to do big business this weekend, and they still have a nice selection of pumpkins.
I expect we'll see lots of fun young people that want to do pumpkin carving and want to make pumpkin pie and all those wonderful things.
As for next season, the Micheks are hopeful for winter weather.
I hate to say it, but a good snowfall this winter to recharge the aquifers for all of central Massachusetts, recharge the reservoirs.
That was our Jennifer Zarate reporting. Now, there is some precipitation in the forecast this week. We'll find out how much later with our local forecast. Worcester State University students, pledging to end relationship violence during Domestic Violence Awareness Month. The group set up a table in the Wellness Center to inform students on campus and about on-campus and off-campus resources for anyone who needs help. Also asking students to take a pledge by marking their fingerprint on a banner outside the fitness center.
And promote like healthy relationships and the way we treat one another here on campus and in our own personal lives.
The pledge is part of the That's Not Love campaign. Today's event, one of several this week to bring attention to relationship violence. An inmate at the Worcester County House of Corrections is sentenced for a violent attack on corrections officers. Worcester County District Attorney's Office confirms 36-year-old Edwin Santiago pled guilty to the 2012 attack. The DA says Santiago charged at officers with a sharp metal object, hitting and stabbing one officer multiple times. He also spit blood at another. Santiago pleaded guilty to multiple charges, including armed assault with intent to murder. Santiago was sentenced to 12 to 16 years in state prison. The candidates for the 17th Worcester District seat are facing off for the first time in a debate tomorrow night. Incumbent Kate Campanale and Democrat Moses Dixon say their main focus will be economic growth. Our Brittany Schaefer caught up with both candidates today and has a preview.
I think a lot of people are anticipating it too. It should be a good crowd.
Incumbent Kate Campanale and Democrat Moses Dixon are preparing for their first debate. The two are in a heated campaign and both say they are eager to face each other.
We've been going over the issues and how she voted on some of the issues, and so I will be well prepared for tomorrow.
What issues are going to come up, and you try to prepare for all of them.
Both Campanale and Dixon say their big message to voters during this campaign is they will be available to them.
I'm really running on what I've been able to bring back to the district, what I've been able to do, how I've been able to be accessible.
I'm going to be someone that is going to be accessible, accountable, and available, and someone that is going to be a full-time state representative, and I think that's what we desperately need.
This debate comes a few days after early voting began, and hundreds of Worcester residents seem to have already cast ballots.
You know, that's always a bit worrisome that people are already going out to vote and they haven't heard maybe some of the issues. I think a lot of people that have made up their minds know the candidates very well, and there's no swaying their decision.
It would have been important if we would have had a chance to debate before early voting, but I think now that we've got the debate tomorrow, people will still have a chance to vote early and to decide where they're going to vote.
Campanale says this year the presidential election should also affect turnout, so both candidates are working to meet and talk to as many voters as they can.
The atmosphere is a little different right now with the national election, so expecting a bigger turnout this year than the last election. And that will, you have to reach a lot more voters.
Continue knocking on doors, making phone calls.
Brittany Schaefer, Worcester News Tonight.
Tomorrow night's debate starts at 7 p.m. at Our Lady of the Angels Church in Worcester. Well, the college basketball season is just around the corner, and here in Worcester, one local team is dedicating its season to a former player and assistant coach. Pat Orosco passed away from esophageal cancer in June. Recently, we spoke with his wife and others about keeping Pat's memory alive.
That's where, so much of his time was spent.
Courtney Orosco thinks about her husband, Patrick, every day.
It's been amazing to see the impact that Pat has had on people's lives, because I don't think a lot of people would get the response that he's gotten. And I think it's just a testament to what an amazing person he was.
Patrick Orosco played basketball at Clark University, which is where he met Courtney. After graduating, Pat joined the coaching staff. Courtney says his life and their life revolved around basketball.
Even when I had Allie, when I was in the hospital, he left the hospital to go coach a game. And
that was okay with you?
It was okay with me because it was so important to him, and they won, so that helped.
In 2015, Pat was diagnosed with stage 4 esophageal cancer. The cancer spread quickly, and in June, Pat passed away. In planning for his funeral, it seemed only fitting to hold a celebration of life ceremony at the gym at Clark University, a request the school was more than willing to grant.
Pat wasn't a big serious guy. We're not formal people, and I just think we thought it was a way to honor him and celebrate who he was.
It was just a good way to celebrate Pat's life here, especially in this gym, and here at Clark, which meant so much to him.
And the basketball team plans to keep Pat's spirit alive. They're dedicating the season to him and also putting his initials on their shooting shirt alongside Danny Trant, who was killed on 9/11.
We've always had Danny Trant on our shooting shirts, and we feel it's two people that mean a lot to our program, and it's a great way to remember them.
The university has also stepped in to help the family. Courtney says the school has set up scholarships for the couple's 2 children, Allison and Ryan. As practice begins for the basketball team, Coach Paul Phillips says it's important the team remember Pat and all he did for the program.
Every time I step into my office, there's the mass card, the picture of Pat is on the bulletin board. So you look at it every single day, and I touch it every single day. And the beginning of the season, I think, just makes it more special.
Courtney says Pat wrote letters to his 2 children for them to read when they get older. She talks about him a lot with her kids, especially Allison.
She looks at pictures of him and knows who played basketball with him, and I'll ask her where she's going to college, and she's going to Clark to play basketball like Daddy, and she takes swimming lessons at Clark, and she knows that's where Daddy played basketball. I don't think there's a day that goes by that he's not mentioned, because I think it's important for her, you know, to hold on to whatever memory she has, because he was amazing with her.
Clark University tips off against Worcester State on November 15th at midnight. The coaching staff is planning to ask Courtney to sit with them at one of their home games this year.